Hey everybody, Bobby Umar here. Welcome to our live session. I'm very excited to be here because it's been a while since I've done a live. Happy New Year to those who are just joining the live for the first time. And I'm excited about the topic because we're going to talk about the art and tech of LinkedIn DMs. Now, what you'll find is that people use LinkedIn for lots of things. They put content, they update my profile, company pages, newsletters. We do live streams right now like this one. But the DM is a huge part of the journey and the strategy. And it's actually the one that I think people get to the last. Like they focus on their profile, then they think about content if they really want to do that. And then finally they get to the DMs and they realize, oh, this is it's a magic place to be here for this. So I'm excited to have, and the reason why it's called Art and Tech is because the art is going to be one of my guest speakers, Darren Gibb. The tech is going to be my other guest speaker, Mitchell Tan, and I'm going to bridge it all together, baby, and it's going to be a really great conversation. Well, with that, I invite you to learn more about the TLB Club. It's brought to you by there's the TLB Club is a membership community to help business owners grow and monetize their digital strategy by 20-50% in 6 to 12 months. That's kind of what we focus on. If you're watching this conversation right now, please comment below, ask questions, tell us where you're from. We might feature it on the stream here as well. We're streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So yeah, you guys can join us anywhere. So with that, I'm going to go to our speakers here. And just first, what I'd like to do is just get an introduction. So Darren, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, so I'm Darren Gibb. I'm a LinkedIn strategist, but my real geeky nature is the DMs. It's a part most of you don't get into. It usually comes out of fear. It usually comes out of quite simply not knowing what to do, not wanting to appear salesy. Yet ultimately, that's where calls are booked. So I focus on DMs and DM strategy. And once you know what you're doing, it's nowhere near as scary, I promise you.
Awesome. And let's go to our other guest, Mitchell Tan. Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. Mitchell, co-founder at Condo here. So I guess if you're like Darren, or if you just send a lot of LinkedIn DMs, you might find your inbox getting a bit messy quite quickly. Yeah, LinkedIn makes it really hard to stay organized, to stay on top of your follow-ups, and so we built Condo. It's basically a tool that plugs into your LinkedIn messages and turns into something more like email, where you can add labels to things, set reminders, right? Just stay organized and use keyboard shortcuts to move much faster through your messaging.
Okay, so let's start with some basic things here, and I'm going to go to you, Darren. The first thing, which is why is it so hard for people to even get started with direct messages on LinkedIn?
Well, part of it actually is. Let me be fully transparent here. I am not being paid by Mr. Tan here to be saying anything about Condo, but it has completely changed how I do DMs, how I keep on top of them, how I have scaled, and how I get deals done. So the reason most people avoid them, I think one of them, it is down to the fact that the native LinkedIn inbox is so terribly poor. It's just difficult to keep on top of. But there's a stage before that. And people don't get into them because they see it as they're bothering people, or they've been told how to get into the DMs. And typically it's the send a connection request, have some really fake warmth that's templated and copied and pasted, and then slap them as hard as you can with a pitch slap, where you offer some crappy, shitty PDF that nobody ever asked for, that you don't know if they've got the problem that it will solve, and you just blanket it. Or even worse, you tell them how bad they are. You then offer them a free 20-minute slot where you drop your damn Calendly link, again, without any sort of qualification happening whatsoever. So there's so much mystique and misunderstanding around DMs. It fundamentally comes down to the fact that nobody really knows what they're doing, and their experiences of being sold to in the DMs is awful. This has only been exasperated by the rise of the AI DM automation outreach, where it's cold as hell, you don't know where they are. So people not knowing how to do them and not knowing how to find a warm DM is a key part of the problem. But it then comes out of fear, it comes out of misunderstanding, it comes out of a lack of frameworks, and quite simply, again, not wanting to appear or to be perceived as they perceive DMs to be.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that a lot of people. I mean, look, the truth is there are there's there's a billion profiles on LinkedIn, and how many people actually put content out there? It's a very, very small number, and that's because most people are nervous about putting themselves out there and whatnot. And I think a DM is even more intimate because you're going directly to somebody, and they may not take it the right way. But the truth is, there is gold in the DMs. There's so much gold in terms of what we're doing with the DMs, and for me, like that is the where I've been on LinkedIn, and I didn't do an introduction myself. My name is Bobby Umar. I am a 5-time TEDx speaker, a 2-time LinkedIn top voice. I help people land TEDx talks to elevate their authority and their brand. I'm also the founder of the TLB Club, a membership community to help small business owners. And as a digital content creator for many, many years, I can tell you that it's been a huge struggle for a lot of people to have the right content. And I can tell you, you see people all the time say, "Well, I posted content, I got 3 sales." Look, I've done this for years on every platform, and the sales and the transactions happen when you build a relationship with them in DMs. No one ever messaged me and said, "Hey, I want to buy your stuff right away." No, they have to have a conversation in the DM. So that's why it's so important. So that's why this to me is a very important topic for everybody to just get the basics down, and we'll get into advanced topics, and you can ask any question you want. I see people are already telling us about they're coming in here, which is great. There's William over there, and Leslie's here. So we're really happy to have all these people who are Leanne's coming in here. So a lot of people are coming in, which is great. So continue to ask questions. But I want to kind of go over down to Mitchell because
Could I really quickly, Robbie, just to
yeah,
get
go ahead, go for it.
because I love this idea. In the chat, all of you in the chat, I love to see people chatting. My God, live streams are just so much better when people chat, aren't they?
Yeah.
Drop a 1 if you're always in the DMs every day. Drop a 2 if it's sometimes, if you have to be, or drop a 3 if you avoid the DMs like the bloody black plague. 1, you're always in the DMs daily. 2, you're sometimes in it. C, you're avoiding it like the plague. Drop 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. I'd love to see a little bit of what people are. Bobby, I apologize, my brother.
I will. Yeah, no, it's great. I'll share the results. So Mitch, I want to turn to you because you've designed a program or an app or a software tool that helps you do this. But maybe can you tell me first about how you kind of came up with the idea that there's a problem with DMs? Tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah. So I worked in the startup scene for a while, and obviously, when you're a startup, like nobody cares about you in the world, and you get your first customers by putting yourself out there, and like cold calling people, cold emailing people, and so we were and something like something that's an established principle in cold emails, like you don't get all your responses in the first email. It's not like you're like, "Hi, I want to chat," and then people like magically want to chat with you, right? Like sometimes it's not the right timing. Sometimes they saw it, but they're busy. But then if you remind them about it, right, they'll be like, "Oh, this is interesting." So I think it's really established practice in cold email to like follow up. And in email land, there's like automated sequencing tools that do this, right? But it's like not exactly the same in LinkedIn, but like generally the same principle applies, right? Like you don't send one DM and expect to get a meeting from that, right? You kind of like chase people and try and get them interested in responding, and then once they've responded, you try and get them interested in like talking more, asking more questions, right? Like exploring what you have to offer, and then you get them on a meeting. So I knew that was like important with my DMs, but I just couldn't do it very well, right? Because like I was sending, let's say, 100 messages a week, and then so that's like 400 conversations a month, and you want to follow up on all. To follow up on these, basically you have to like scroll down a bunch, maybe mark things as unread. What I ended up doing on my own is I made a spreadsheet, and I literally like spent a lot of time doing admin. Like I would like have a link per row for every conversation I had. I would put like a date for the next time I was supposed to circle back to it. And then when that date was up on the spreadsheet, I would click into the link and open the person's profile and then send my next message, right? And yeah, so it was kind of a mess, and I was spending a lot more time in doing admin than actually reaching out. And there isn't. Yeah, this was years ago. So there are definitely even less tools. There were less tools then than there are now, right? And so I was like, surely my job can't be updating a spreadsheet, right? And so I've had this frustration for years, and all I wanted was, when I respond to my emails, I don't spreadsheet my emails, right? Nobody copies and pastes links to their emails in a spreadsheet. So why am I doing this for my LinkedIn messages, right? I don't want to automate them. I don't need AI to auto. All I want to do is like manage it like I do my emails, where I don't have to go spreadsheet it, just to be reminded of what's up next. And yeah, so that's kind of what Condo's vision is, right? Just like be like humans doing your LinkedIn messages, but like minus all the extra admin that you would have to do. Yeah.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. That's really great. And I think I think my general pain point with LinkedIn DMs was the fact that it was really hard to organize it. Just like I have ADHD, so I have to like organize my Gmail is very organized with different places I want to put stuff. And back in the old days, I used to tag people with a certain tag towards the contact, the connection. But man, like I just can't handle. There's no place for me to create little folders and stuff. And so, being able to do that with Tricondo, and again, I'm not being paid as well to support Tricondo, but I am using it, and I thought it was really good. And later on, if you're up for it, Mitch, I'd like to have you actually show us, demonstrate a little bit, maybe share your screen if you can. But for me, the biggest pain point of DMs is not being able to sort it. And sometimes when you search for stuff, I mean, sometimes it's hard to find things. You lose track of some of the conversations, and I find it really challenging. Darren, I'd like to maybe ask you to share a bit more about what you think are some of the pain points of the DM from a tech standpoint for you.
I can't add anything more, really. I mean, and again, it's kind of embarrassing because we're both kind of fanboying this poor gentleman here, Bobby. But it's phenomenal. It's so for me. I mean, Leslie, said you made your own CRM. She's not right. Condo, because 95% of my deals are through the DMs. I work with coaches, consultants, solopreneurs, and fractionals. They're looking to get clients on LinkedIn. So my Condo has really become my go-to CRM. Now, you've now got the ability to connect webhooks where it can take data and go elsewhere. We're not even going to go into that, I don't think. But what we've got with Condo is the ability to tag people. So I'm able, if you work with virtual assistants, they're able to tag certain people and so on. I tag people depending where they are in the deal. I tag people who I've booked calls with. I tag people who are clients. I tag people that I need to go back to. It's just effortless. I love the feature as well. From a DM strategy, we're never chasing, we're never needy, because that energy from a selling perspective is exactly what puts people off. So if somebody's not responded to a message, which it does happen, let's be honest, I'm not going to go, hey, just circling back, just checking in. It doesn't work. The strategy would always be to like and comment on one of their posts. But then I just hit the H key on Condo, and I'm allowed to have it bump back into my inbox within 2 hours, 2 days, whatever it is. This is beautiful because as somebody who's ADHD, but unlike Bobby, I'm actually quite scattered and disorganized with stuff. Condo honestly allows me to have inbox zero. End of every day, I've got 0 messages in my inbox. They're bumped to come back on the next day. They're labeled. It's just phenomenal. And the thing that's really fucking brilliant, at certain points in the DM conversation, you're going to want to use an audio note. Why? Because it builds warmth. It builds a sense of being with that other person. Usually message 6 to 7. There's a bit of audio that you're going to want to do. Up until now, we've had to use LinkedIn's mobile app. Let's be honest, more very low quality programming from LinkedIn. I don't want to do it. Condo's got the voice note bit built in. So I just click the voice note and it goes. And it's just brilliant. So the frustrations that everybody is feeling about the LinkedIn inbox are absolutely true. And again, Mitchell, I'm expecting a big fat brown envelope of cash after this live stream. I'm telling you. But Condo it changed everything. I cannot emphasize enough just genuinely useful it is. They always say that you should, build products that solve your own problems. Mitchell did that, which is great, but he did it for any sort of power user of LinkedIn. And it's just fantastic. The tech, it enables everything you need. I mean, I cannot wax more lyrically enough about Condo. So I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
Can I can I ask a bit about like the voice notes, Darren? So like some people say that, hey, like when I get a voice note on LinkedIn from a person I don't know, it's kind of like weird. Like, why are you asking me to listen to your thing, right?
Yeah.
Like do you like my time's important, and like why can't you just write it out? So like how do you think about that? I think some people have like an adverse reaction when you send them a voice note because it feels like something, like it's like you're forcing them to like listen to the thing to see what it's about.
Great, good question. If the conversation's progressed enough, Mitchell, and it's been framed correctly, every person in the world clicks on that audio note. Here's why. Because the audio note now opens up a curiosity gap. The idea is if you've gone through 3 messages of commonality, getting reciprocity of them, being at that peer-to-peer level, you then transition where we're looking to see if they've got a symptom or a pain point. That's why I said it's message 6 or 7 you want to be sending the audio note, because they know within that audio note there's going to be some sort of solution to a symptom or a pain point that they have already given. So you're right, Mitchell. If I don't know who the bloody hell you are and you send me a voice note, I ain't listening to it. You've not earned it. But if I've invested 6 to 7 messages and I've earned it and I've got that trust invested, from a psychological social selling perspective, that voice note is absolute gold and the most underutilized thing in DM strategy, because that curiosity loop is so high now. I need to listen to it. And if you really want to double check, little bonus bit, put a little message underneath it. Curious to hear your thoughts on this. And that emoji, put that on, and 99% of people will listen to it. If they don't, that's feedback in itself. You clearly hadn't done a good enough job of opening up that conversation to the point that curiosity gap was earned.
Yeah, and I'll add to this that I don't send voice messages to people that I don't know. It's either people who start a conversation with me or people that I do know. And also the other thing, what I do is especially if I'm a man talking to a woman, I will say, this is a voice note for you, that for me personally, because I don't want them to think it's some sort of spam and things like that. All that stuff actually makes me it makes it helpful to understand how that works. I see that people are talking about I put the code up there to try Condo for 1 month, which is my referral link. Some people are saying it's not working, so I'm gonna fix that, guys, in a second. But if you check it out, you'll be able to see that. In the meantime, I also want to mention that, look, LinkedIn particularly has a culture where people are very, very afraid of spam or salesy stuff. And they really don't like that. So it's really important to start a genuine conversation with folks, and before getting into any sort of conversation regarding the sale thing. So there's a culture at LinkedIn where it's like that, whereas other platforms is not so much. You start a conversation and people are pretty open to it, but LinkedIn's very, very, very antsy about that. And I know that whether having sent DMs or having sent emails, having sent anything to even cold targets, there's definitely a big challenge there. But people are already asking, I don't know what Condo is, and they say, I don't know, and someone else says, me neither.
There's a curiosity gap being opened now. Exactly. Send the voice message, Mitchell.
So while Leslie learns how to find out where to get the complimentary month, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to let Mitchell now share the platform. Now, Mitchell, you can't go for half an hour, but give us like a 5-minute overview of the platform. You can share your screen too if you want.
Yep. So I mean, I think we touched on this a bit earlier, but yeah, basically Condo plugs into your LinkedIn. I think I'm sharing my screen now, Bobby.
Hold on. Let me get it. Hold on.
Nice.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, so this is Condo, and this is my LinkedIn inbox in it. As you can see, we've had a group chat with Darren and Bobby in here. Condo plugs into your LinkedIn messages and turns it into something more like email, right? So whatever you're used to using to stay organized in email, you can do it in here. For example, if I wanted to label this chat as like a partnership, maybe, right? I can do that, and then I have like I can create separate inboxes or folders in here where like messages just move, right? And then I think Darren was mentioning, how he, follows up with people. So rather than, having to scroll down and remember, when it's time to follow up or write down somewhere else, you can just hit H, set a reminder, right? And say, I want to come back to this next week. And it's basically going to snooze the message, send it away, and bring it back later. Yeah, so you can keep your inbox a lot more organized than you can in LinkedIn. Also, we show you all your connections. So one common issue I've seen is that people add a lot of connections, but people accept your connections and you never go follow up, right? So you kind of have connections that you've never sent a message to. So Condo kind of shows you who all your connections. You can filter it down to, hey, I haven't messaged these people before. I can narrow this down further and say I only care about, say, CEOs. And so here are like CEOs in my network I've never messaged before. And then you can kind of mine your connections to start new conversations and actually turn these connections into relationships by starting a chat. Yeah.
One thing I might say, Mitchell, is that I think sometimes it looks more difficult than it actually is. I just think sometimes because it's so powerful and it's so different to the way that a LinkedIn inbox looks, which is just so simple, it can have that. But it's literally within 15 minutes, you're used to it. And the features, what I love is it's not bloated. It's really just those features that you need. And as you said, having the different labels, having therefore kind of different folders, being able to snooze things. What I love as well is you've got a section for notes. And that's really useful when you're prospecting because you can write notes. If you've got a conversation that you're wanting to keep a bit of information about, you can do that. And the fact you can search through everything is just, it's amazing. It really is.
Maybe Mitchell, can you talk a bit about one of the things you said that I liked was the ability to message people who actually you've never messaged before. I like the filters. Can you maybe talk a bit more and share a bit about the filters? I do like that aspect.
Yeah. So basically, the thing about LinkedIn is that you accumulate connections, and I'm sharing my screen again. Nice. So if we go on LinkedIn, right, basically you a bit of screen inception here, but
hold on, let me fix that.
no worries. That was my end. So yeah, you basically in LinkedIn you can see all your connections, right? And LinkedIn shows you all the connections that you've added. That's great. And you could like start messages from here, but you have no idea, like some of these people I've already messaged, right? And others I have not. So it's really hard in LinkedIn to tell who you've basically ignored, right? Like which connections you have, but you just never reached out to them. And to do that in LinkedIn, you have basically open each profile, check if you send a message, and then if you haven't, you'd send one. So we basically make this kind of connections manager a bit better in Condo. You see all your connections just like LinkedIn, but you get yellow dots telling you who you have never sent a message to before, right? And then you can filter down your list just to the yellow dot people. So you can see all these people I added, but I've never messaged, right? So if they are relevant, if they're like in my ICP, then I'm really kind of leaving some money on the table because they accept my request, they want to talk to me, but I just didn't bother reaching out, right? And then maybe not everyone here is in my ICP. Maybe I only care about like specific kinds of people. Let's say I care about, VPs of sales, right? And maybe your business is somewhat local. You care about VPs of sales in, I don't know, Miami, right? So you can kind of search people's profiles this way. And here are VPs of sales in Miami I apparently am connected to, but, have never reached out to before. And then you can just go down the list and send a message if you want, right?
Okay, great. Darren, any questions around the tech here?
None at all.
Good. So there's a question here. Jackie's asking, how much is it after the complimentary amount?
Yeah, our pricing is like public, so you can go to our website, trycondo.com. Right, sorry. You can click on pricing, and then all the pricing's here.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thanks for that. That's great. All right. So let's, and I'm gonna, the people are asking about the link. So the link is now ready. I have it. And this is the, if you click the QR code, you can try Condo for 1 month free. I've also posted the link in the chat, which hopefully will also get more people trying it out and kind of go from there, guys. So appreciate all your comments and your chats and stuff. But now let's talk about some strategy around DMs, okay? And I'll go first this time. So for me, one of the things that for me, I have what I've done with DMs is I have a script, right? So that I've created the certain things I'd like to ask people in my own kind of Bobby way to get a conversation started. And I've also heard all the stuff that Darren has shown us. I've heard from some of the people like Richard Moore who talk about this stuff. But really, it's more about just having a conversation. And I avoid trying to say things like, what are your goals for this year and things like that. I just like, hey, I usually start with gratitude. I'm a big gratitude guy. Sharing something kind of personal relevant to what I saw. Hey, I just saw you posted about this, and that's really cool. Where did that idea come from? Like, I just start casual conversation like that, and I find that goes very, very well for me. And then when I was doing more reaching out to cold emails, or whether it's in-mails, whatever, I would say something like, so one of the things that worked well for me, a year ago, I would say in-mails suck. But to me, everyone always says something sucks. But if you have the right strategy, it can work well. So then I worked with a coach, came up with the right way to send an in-mail. And next thing you know, people are responding back. I was like, this is great. And I basically talked about TEDx Talks. I said, hey, you know what? Based on your profile, I think there's a great story there that could be a TEDx Talk. If you're interested, message me back. And people started messaging back. I was like, this is great. Okay, it's working. And so for me, those are like, but to me, having, testing things out, not being really salesy, just inviting conversations, curiosity, and personal relevance to me makes a big difference. But for me, a lot of people are nervous. You feel better if you have a bit of a script that you can use in terms of how you might want to, try different things. But Darren is also a fantastic expert on this. Darren, what are your thoughts on some of the getting started with the DMs and the strategies there?
Yeah, so it's very similar to kind of what you're saying. We've got to look for commonality. So to look for commonality, what is it you've both got in common? Well, the days of saying, hey, Bobby, I see you're a solopreneur, it'd be great to connect, are gone, because it's absolute minimal investment in that individual. And AI especially is able to do it. Now, AI is able to do what I'm about to say, or what Bobby just said. Yes, AI can do that now, but still it's down to that kind of personal touch. So it would be, for example, if Mitchell, I don't know, let's say Bobby just posted something about, I don't know, leadership. I would look to find you need to find a really authentic, and that's an overused word, but authentic way in, along the lines of, Bobby, really liked your post about leadership. The bit about X especially struck a chord because of Y. It'd be great to connect if you're open to it. That should be the connection request. I'm going to push back on in-mails because you only get 30 and they're always spam. Even if it's about your offer, I'm counting that as spam because you're cold. I don't want to hear it. It's never going to work. Therefore, I believe that in-mails are they're just a waste of time. In-mails are designed for people you're not connected with. I would always push back. Why are you not connected to somebody if you want to have a DM with them? The connection allows you to DM them. You cannot DM a follower, but you can DM somebody you're connected to, a first-degree connection. So send over that connection request, then the next message should always look to be building on it. I always feel and always say there should be a what or a how question, depending if it's a bit of storytelling, a bit of vulnerability, or if it's a process that's been shared. If it's a process, it's going to be how. If it's more of a vulnerability, it's what. That then leads into that first message for you to dig deeper. So it's exactly what Bobby said, but it is strategic. We're not there for a chat. We're here to do business. And what often happens, I see, is people getting caught in the friend zone because the over familiarity commonality turns into familiarity. And before they know it, they're 15 DMs in and they've still not established, is this person an ideal client? Do they have a pain point or a symptom that I'm able to solve? So I want to go through what I call the open framework, 3 messages, building that commonality peer-to-peer. Then we want to pivot. And we want to try and understand, do they have a symptom or a pain point? If it's a symptom, we use what I call the flame terminology. And if it's a pain point, we're looking to get them straight onto a call. Again, this is very much B2C. It's very much when you've got a service that you're looking to sell. This is how it works. But to Bobby's point, yes, connecting with authenticity and having a script and a framework definitely helps. It's just about that customizing it. People are really tired of AI and scripts. So when they actually feel a genuine person building connection, you tend to get a warmer response.
Okay, and I think it's also good to mention that healthy disagreement is a good thing. So I'm going to counter Sir Darren with, so what I did was basically I tested connection requests in two different ways. I tested in-mails in different ways. I tested a bunch of things. What ended up happening was the in-mail started working pretty well. And so I was a non-believer in them, but they were working because you can say a little bit more than you would in a connection request, and it got results. But listen, but again, currently I'm doing neither of those things. I've now moved on to Facebook ads. But the point is, you got to test things out, and But yeah, to Darren's point, that I do agree with. You want to maximize, optimize where your best time is spent, right? So where you're getting the most bang for your buck. The 20% of your effort should lead to 80% of the result when it comes to where you send those DMs. So I think that's really great. Let me see if Mitchell. I know that you're the tech guy, but I mean, what are your thoughts on any sort of strategies when it comes to sending DMs, and maybe in particular how best we can also leverage that through your platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, I go back to like there are good principles from cold email that you can borrow, right? So like the first principle of cold email is like your goal is to get a reply, right? So like if you can't get the person to like message you back, right? Like it doesn't matter what happens next.
Right.
Obviously there are limits to this. Like if you send a cold email and said, "Hey, I have your kid," right? Like you're gonna reply, but like like you're not gonna go anywhere. But like to say something that sparks enough curiosity, or like establishes enough common ground where you would respond, right? And like it is meaningful. It's like you picked up the phone, right? Like it's meaningful that there's like this two-way channel going. And then I think after that, like the whole point is to I think there's maybe one more step, and that depends on how like how big a thing are you selling, right? If you're for example, if people pitch me all the time on like software for my startup, right? And so if you're selling me something that a lot of people sell me, then like it's I kind of roughly know what you're going to sell me. So what sticks out is like, can I trust you, right? So for example, like the funny thing is that a million people sell me like services like, hey, I can help you get more customers by DMing people. I'm like, well, like I think I know a thing or two about DMing people, right? And like I actually like I personally know and met people who run agencies who do this. So like I think if you read the room, like I would respond if like there's like you build more trust. You're like, hey, I know that you know these three people and they're also founders, and I've done work with them, or I've like like analyzed what they do. And so I think you got to read the room, right? When you're transitioning from like, hi, there's a two-way conversation, to like, I do this, is it more of a chat? And I think that depends on, how much authority you already have, like, if nobody knows who you are, then you need to do more work, right? You need to like earn some trust. If you are, let's say, Darren, right, and I already know you, and Darren messages me and is like, hey, I'm running this course, want to check it out? Like, if you already have some level of social proof in the market that's like people you're messaging would have seen, then like it's a bit different. So I think reading the room's important when you like transition from just saying hi and getting a reply to like talking about business. Yeah.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And maybe Darren, can you talk a bit about, I mean, assuming, if you're using Tricondo, how are you using it strategically when it comes to setting up your DMs and things like that?
So kind of labeling, sometimes it will be labeling what kind of, I definitely started, I remember getting on a call with Mitchell and I had about 400 different labels and it wasn't effective. And I think that's a big thing, is not over labeling everything. So I've got it down to being really quite streamlined now and quite effective. But I would say for the actual, I mean, I've done it where I've kind of like hit them, whether I'm in the qualification stage, whether they're symptom aware, whether they're pain aware, whether they're ready to pivot for a call. But I found even that just kind of like not necessarily being the best use of the time. So the main feature I use, I would say, is the notes on the side of the DM panel, and snoozing it, hitting the snooze button and getting it to pop back in a day or two. I'd say that's the two main things. I use it from a business perspective, from kind of, for example, let's say with my clients, I want to show them a really nice DM conversation or conversations that I've had to use as a teaching method. Then I'll label it as exemplar. Then I just go to that label and I've got all those deals that I've closed, and I'm able to go, right, this one will be good to teach this person, and so on. So it's kind of like, that's how I would be using it in that sense. Again, the voice notes, as I say, also being important, but it's a remarkably powerful piece of software that's actually does the basics incredibly well. It's not over bloated. So my process and system labeling, yes, absolutely. From working with my VA, I'll get she'll put certain labels on certain things. But yeah, bumping things back, having the snooze button, and just having the organization of knowing where things are. That's just an absolute given, ones to go back to in 3 months' time, so on and so forth. Lost prospects, label them, to go back. It's just being able to quickly do things. That's really how I use it as part of my strategy.
Thanks. And guys, we are talking to Mitchell Tan, co-founder of Tricondo, the LinkedIn messaging tool. We're talking to Darren Gibb, who is a DM specialist and AI lover as well. And I'm Bobby. I'm the founder of TLB Club. I put the QR code for TLB Club because TLB Club basically is a membership community to help small business owners level up their digital strategy and game to monetize 20 to 50% better in the next 12 months. So if you want to learn how to do that, you want to get access to our weekly coaching calls, our accountability calls, our master classes, all the things that we're doing. And we do a live stream every month or so, which is always lots of fun. There's lots of great, it's great to be part of a community where you're not alone, you're not overwhelmed. You have people who are there to help you and support you. We have 8 in-house experts across a broad range of areas, including AI and tech, sales, networking, marketing, and discoverability, as well as myself. I'm here to coach you and help you get to that next level. So click the link, learn more about TLB Club. A couple of things we're doing. Tomorrow we have a masterclass. It's going to be on sales, actually. So you take the DM stuff from today. Tomorrow we're going to talk about sales. It's going to be hosted by Joey Himmelfarm, who's a sales and networking expert, and that's going to be great. And it's you're all invited to come by. You can come by either as a member or be as one of my guests. If you want to be one of my guests to one of our calls, whether it's a coaching call, whatever, you can certainly do that. So now, and again, I do like everyone's to click the link there to check out TLB Club. You can also click the link to try Condo for 1 month free. So I'm going to keep switching back and forth between the different QR codes and see what people are clicking on. And I do appreciate the people in the chat. Share more stuff in the chat. Let's feature any of your questions you might have for both DM strategies as well as the tech of it. And so I guess I'm gonna ask a question now, because let's see. I'll go to you, Darren. I think that you were talking about there's a certain point where you build that kind of personal connection, and then I guess the question I would have is, when do you know, or how do you know it's time to potentially move to a call that might become a transaction? What are some signs around that type of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, there's basic signals. So again, every prospect you need to take into account. Typically, though, I mean, those that you sell to aren't the ones liking and commenting on your content every day. You need to separate those. It's typically lurkers. So therefore, your content through middle of funnel content needs to be preventing what they perceive to be a solution to a potential problem, and then get that conversation open. But when you've got a framework, Bobby, it takes the guesswork out. Much like you said, that idea of a script. So typically it's through the questions that you ask. People don't ask good enough questions. People get scared, or they ask bad questions. Suddenly, 1 minute they're making commonality and being friends, and the next minute they're going, hey, Mitchell, so what challenges are you having with LinkedIn at the moment? And it feels wrong. It feels ick, which is why people stop doing DMs or convince themselves they don't work. My niche don't respond well to DMs. They do. It's human psychology. Absolutely they do. You're just asking the wrong questions. So it's really about one thing, a couple of things that you can do, but you want to you want to transition from the commonality peer-to-peer to expert-to-peer. So you can make an assumption within here, assuming that something must be going really well at the moment. You'll often then get the truth. Now, you might have to double assume or do a double assumption there, because sometimes people say, yeah, you're doing really well. And it turns out it's actually not the case. But with that assumption, it allows the conversation to then flow to that. And then you can start feeling those potential problems that they're having. And then it's through questioning, but not telling. Most people teach in the DMs. Well, they've completely lost their expert frames. Experts don't teach. They charge to give that information away. So therefore, it's far much more about the the person that's having the conversation. So the expert getting the prospect to diagnose themselves. It's asking questions like, so, what have you done to try and fix this? Why do you think it's not worked? If they're pain point aware. If they're far more symptom aware, it's trying to get them to surface that symptom and then to give a brief couple of options about what it could be and find out which one feels more real to them. So that's how you're getting from the general to the more specifics. But the brain loves specificity. But we're not coaching and we're not teaching in this. What we're doing is we're opening up a little bit like the voice note that I mentioned. We're opening up the curiosity gap that shows, yeah, we've got the problem, but we're looking for them to diagnose it. We can then confirm and then explain that, we can help to solve that problem. Let's jump onto a call. But it's very much that. Too often people teach and stay in the friend zone and they refuse to create tension. This is going to sound strange. Yeah. There must be tension. On a TEDx talk, Bob, there must be tension within it to engage the audience. And it's exactly that. But the beautiful thing is the vast majority of people don't create tension. That's absolutely fine because you are. So it's very easy to actually stand out in this sort of marketplace. It's like in a sales call, there should be tension within the sales call. If there's not tension, you're just their buddy. You're acting as their coach rather than creating the tension and showing that gap.
Can you give me an example of that's great. I love the tension. I love the idea of finding some sort of pain or widening the gap in terms of the pain and where they're at. Can you give me an example of that tension in a DM?
So within a DM in itself, it would be, how long are you prepared to stay like this for? How long does this stay like this until business has to close? Is that something you're looking to fix now or at some point in the future?
And that's something you're going to do in a DM versus wait until a sales call for that.
Well, why the fuck do we get onto a sales call with somebody who doesn't feel the pain, isn't ready? That's where people waste time and waste money on sales call. If you charge $1,000 an hour for your service and you're booking, let's say, 3 calls a week and only one of them is qualified, that's $2,000 a week you're losing. That's $8,000 a month. That's almost $100,000 a year you're losing by getting on calls with the wrong people. I'd far rather know the tire kickers before I get on the call rather than that. So they're qualifying themselves before we're getting on the call.
And Mitchell, I would ask you this, like, let's say I'm doing what Darren's doing and we are now having conversations with people. And now I'm able to, identify people who are definitely having really good conversation with me. I mean, what are some of the things we can do with the platform to try to sort through that? And you mentioned before about creating folders, but can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so I think not the problem with like an inbox where all the messages are in the same view, right? Like what you would have on LinkedIn, right? Is that not every person has equal priority, right? Like some like you have a mix. Like there are some people will pitch you stuff. You don't care about them. Like some people are just friends. You care about them, but not today. You care about them like once in a while, right? Some people are like, your colleagues or something like that, right? So not everyone has the same priority, but by putting them in the same list, they have the same priority because you have to go through everyone to find the ones that you care about. So it's funny that we even have to say this, but like that's why people invented labels and folders on computers, right? Like they give us a way to prioritize our tasks, right? The person who is like, hey, I really have this big problem. What can you do about it? You want to make sure that the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is to answer that message, right? Instead of like going through like 10 others. And so in Condo, you can not only label your messages but split them into different inboxes. So you can have like an inbox just for hot leads, right? People who like, if I do nothing else today, I better get back to those people, right? And so yeah, I'd say categorization is like probably the primary purpose of categorization is prioritization, right? Like you want to like spend your time on the people you really care about, and LinkedIn works against that because like LinkedIn is a social media platform. They want you like like go from thing to thing, right? Like and you can't blame them, right? If I was running LinkedIn, I want you to like spend as much time as you can on the platform, right? Scroll around, right? Like go from notification to notification, and that's like what a social media platform does, right? And like, but that's not like, and that's fine if you're like having fun, right? But like if you're here to run a business, right? Like you're not here to like muck around, right? You're here to like get stuff done that's gonna like make you money, right? And so to do that, you've got to like, prioritize your time on just like the narrow set of things that like really move the needle. And to do that, one, like we give you an inbox where you just focus on your messages, and two, you can move things into folders, and you focus even the messaging time goes into like only the 10 people I care about kind of interacting with today, right? And the rest of people will get a response just like later, like not now, like next week, over the weekend, on Friday, right?
Now, Mitch, I want to ask you, like, obviously you're the developer of this stuff. What else are you working on to try to, I guess, optimize or make it better? Are there things that you're working on there?
Yeah, so a feature we released recently is many people don't know this, but you can actually get a custom feed on LinkedIn natively. Like instead of like just scrolling down your feed, you can filter your feed to posts from certain people, right? So the problem with the feed is it always mixes in, like you're always like searching for value, right? You're like scrolling, like that's an ad, right? This is some like random post I don't care about, and they're like, for every 10 posts, there are 5 of these which you don't care about. But then you keep scrolling because you think that you'll find something good, right? But as a business owner, if you're like looking to engage with people in your ICP, then you should only care about things, updates or posts or thoughts of people that you care about, not just anyone that the LinkedIn algorithm serves you up. So in Condo now, you can, in the Connections tab, you can select a bunch of people, and basically we help you create a link that opens a custom feed of just posts from those people. And yeah, I can spend like 30 seconds showing how this works. So basically, if we pick up where I'm sharing my screen now. So previously, I was showing you how you can like search your connections for some job title and find people you haven't messaged yet. Right, so here are some of them in my connections, and let's say I want to, like, these people are important to me, so I want to go see what they've been posting, right? I can select all these people, I can hit the shortcut P on my keyboard, and it basically opens a custom feed of posts from these 9 people, right, that I selected in Condo. So rather than reacting to whatever the algorithm serves me up on my like general feed, which maybe I'll do on weekends or when I'm on the phone in a car or something. When I'm like in focus mode, I just care about these people and I want to engage with their content. So Condo helps you basically curate your feed a bit. Yeah.
I love that, and I think that the thing that I would say is really important about that is that 2 things. One is that commenting as a strategy on LinkedIn is very, very important to with the people you want to engage with and get their attention. I think that's incredibly important. And the other thing I want to point out too is that if you're going to do DMs, I mentioned there's kind of an evolution, right? You start off with optimize your profile. You start off with putting content out there, and they start DMing people. That's usually that's how people evolve in terms of more advanced tactics. But I want to go back to the fact that like if you're going to DM people, make sure your profile is really awesome, really clear on who you are, what problem you solve, because what's going to happen when you DM somebody, they're going to click on the link and they're going to go to your profile. If your profile is crap and not clear, then that's also not going to be that great. So I encourage everybody to make sure you're spending time, optimize your profile, make sure it's very, very clear. Okay. Darren, I wanted to ask you, is there anything else you'd like to see that should be on a platform for doing LinkedIn DMs, the tech side?
What was that I said to you, Mitchell, the other day ago? I can't remember. I cannot remember what it was. It's completely forgotten. So yes, check that one. It's in the group chat, Mitchell. I'd really like that. No, I don't know if there is, honestly. I like, as I say, I like the relative simplicity of it. It's honestly, it's got everything that I think you would need. I mean, it's got, yeah, I wish there was. I wish I could come out with a brilliant feature that would be amazing. But it just works. I think that's a key thing. It just works. I really like the keystrokes as well, especially, it's a little bit of memorization, not too much, but not
Yeah.
much at all. But once you've got them, and it's just so fast to do, and it allows me to have, numerous conversations happening at once, but in an organized manner. So, no, there's nothing that I would say. The voice note one was a huge that I loved when that there, and I like the idea of the feed curation. I can see that really
Yeah.
working nicely as well.
I think for me, I'd like to see if there's more like I guess short training videos on the things you're doing. I think that would be really helpful to me because I was on there the other day. I couldn't find them, so that's something I guess they're there. Great, let me know because I would like to see that.
Yeah. So there's a tutorial video which covers like all the things I shared today. You can click the help button in Condo and like click tutorial video, and it should bring you there. Yeah.
Now, I want to go back to Darren with some more advanced DM strategies because can you give us a sense of like what is your general take on commenting people's posts and sending DMs and how often you do them? I'd love to get an understanding of kind of your kind of process.
Yeah, so I do what I swear by: 15 DMs a day, 15 connections a day, and 15 comments a day. Don't come and cry to me you've got no connection, no calls booked if you've not done it. It's not much. It's 5 of each in the morning, 5 of each in the afternoon, 5 each in the evening. Now there's a lot of people in here who don't use LinkedIn like this. They're not looking for clients. That doesn't apply to them clearly. But if you are honestly looking for clients, you're using LinkedIn to do it. It's the best way to do it. It compounds. If you're doing that, and again, with the right people that you're speaking to, and that can be a combination of distributors. People like Mitchell would be a distributor. Probably not somebody I'm going to close as a client, but somebody in the DM game. He's going to have a lot of followers who have DM problems. DM organization problems probably also overlaps in the Venn diagram of strategy as well. So Mitchell would be a distributor there. So connecting with distributors and prospects. Distributors are the ones who will show up on your content because they want reciprocity from you. When they create and you show up, over time that relationship deepens. They will show up in yours. They'll bring about 1 to 1.5% of their audience are going to see they just liked or commented your post. Happy days. That's easy exposure the way the LinkedIn organic algorithm works. So 15 connections a day, combination of distributors and of prospects. 15 comments a day, again, between prospects and distributors, and 15 DM conversations. That could be a DM conversation from yesterday that you're continuing over. That counts as one as well. If you do that over 5 days, that's 75. If you do that over 1 month, it's 300 connections you've added, 300 conversations you've had, 300 comments left in people's post profiles. 10% of that, we're looking at 30. If you could get a third of them booked onto a call, for example, 10 calls a month, probably enough to sustain most solopreneurs, SMBs selling high ticket prices. It's done. So it's that it compounds. But again, the strategy is what's key. There's a lot of myths out there about how to do it and what you need to do. Content, having your profile optimized is really important, but the content gurus will say just post or be consistent. If you're consistently posting shite, that's not helping build any sort of brand. So yes, be consistent. 2 to 3 times a week is fine to start off with. You don't need to post 5 times a week. I post 5 times a week because I like to be front of mind. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. It's second nature. But it's going to take you longer to start out to build that content. 2 to 3 times a week posting is fine. Just make sure you're doing 15 DMs, 15 connections, 15 comments per day, and you're golden. You don't need to, it's content doesn't solve the problem. LinkedIn will make you think content's the gateway to everything. It's just the starting point. 9% of the network of the 1.1 billion are now creating at least once every couple of months. The competition's there, but it's not saturated. So it's not a case of be consistent. It's about know what you're posting, know who you're serving, know the type of content to post, but be getting in those conversations. Authority is built, yes, through content, but it's also built actually through having conversations like a human being.
Thanks. And if anyone wants to learn more about DMs, profiles, LinkedIn, digital strategies, the technology and software out there, I highly encourage you to join the TLB Club. Click the QR code up there. If you have any more last minute questions, we'll do it. Put them in the chat. I'll put them up here. But we're getting near the end of our call. I want to kind of give an opportunity to my two guests. Make sure you follow them and check out what they're doing. But I'd love for them to maybe talk a bit about how we can follow them and find them and support them. So I'll go to you, Mitchell, first, and then we'll go to Darren.
Yeah, I'm running around LinkedIn with a post box next to my name, so look out for that. Or just you go to trycondo.com. You can try that, or like there's a link. The QR code's still there.
Right there.
So yeah, you can sign up for a free month. Thanks to Bobby, and we're very hands-on with support. So if you want to chat and need help getting set up, you can always book a call with me once you've done that.
Awesome. And Darren, how can people support and follow you, sir?
Yep. Click the connect button on LinkedIn. Follow, whatever you prefer. It's absolutely fine. And if any of this has resonated, there's going to be some of you right here thinking, you know what? Okay, the DMs, maybe I've been missing out on them, but I still don't really know where to be starting. I'm running a free workshop Monday, the 26th of January, this Monday at 6 p.m. Central European time, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Come along to that, okay? I'm going to drop a link into the chat just now, if you don't mind, Bobby.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely free to come along. And I'm going to show you the framework. I've been mentioning framework quite a few times. I'm going to really go in depth to this framework on the free call. And again, you're going to walk away with just being able to actually know what to do, be able to actually start conversations and be able to actually progress them without feeling sleazy, without feeling ick, and without feeling like being that person. So yeah, come along. It'd be great to see you there.
And I can also vouch for Darren. I have looked at some of his stuff. I have bought some of his stuff. I've invested in this guy. He's really great. And he paid me a shit ton of money to say that. But I'm kidding. No, he did not. He did.
You're funding my Barbados holiday with this live stream, Bobby.
I'm joking. No. I'm really promoting my good friend Darren. He's a great guy too. So make sure you check him out. And again, this is brought to you by TLB Club. We are Thought Leadership Brand Club, is bringing the top thought leaders across technology and social media and for leadership to help you get to that next level. And that's really what it's all about. If you want to learn more about TLB Club, what we're doing, click the QR code above there. You can see kind of what we're doing. You can come to our next event, or you be a guest at one of our calls. Because again, at the end of the day, if you're trying to transform your business in the next 6 to 12 months, you want to monetize better. Trust me, most people are now monetizing better. Every time I look at 95% of the people that I work with that are small business owners, they're like, I have a social media strategy. Great. How are you getting clients? And they can never answer the damn question. You have to have a way to acquire clients. And I can tell you that for me, all of my clients have come through some sort of email or direct message that then leads to a call, and then I close the business, or a coffee in person, and it closes the business. They don't just see a post and, I'm going to buy from this guy. No. So that's why DMs, whether it's email or LinkedIn DMs, that's why you have to do that kind of stuff. So it's really important for people to understand that. I encourage you all to kind of check that out. And yeah, the comments, as Nelly said, the comments are just a starting point. And you can also check out our weekly Thought Leadership Brand Club on Clubhouse every Tuesday at 4 p.m. We're doing a lot of stuff, and we want to make sure that people are getting the most out of it. So I want to thank Darren.
Can I just jump in really quick, because there's a really good point that our friend, I think it was Natalie said,
yeah.
This is the biggest fallacy, and I'm going to get heat for this. This is the biggest fallacy on LinkedIn. Post 100 comments a day. You get cognitive almost dissonance, I'm going to say, but you can't post 100, 150 good comments. What you do in the comments is become seen by many, but trusted by no one. You become everybody's best friend. You become that person to go and pick the brains. Natalie's right. Comments are just the starting points. 15s a day, all you need. don't be wasting time building so-called relationships because they turned into friendships. And that's why the straight balance at the end of the month is always broke. Why? Because the moment you take that into the DMs, you build up such a relationship, you just become that nice person and people just want to pick your brain about things. So yeah, Natalie's hit the nail on the head. They are just the starting point. And if you're listening to any guru who's telling you to do 100, 150, 500 comments a day, just ask yourself, and this should always be the question, whatever it is you're doing, what's the conversion on this?
Yeah.
If you're doing DMs, what's the conversion? If it's emails, what's the conversion?
Yeah.
If it's content at the moment, if it's referrals, what's the conversion? And if you're not getting paid for it, you need to reevaluate it. And I would say that the TLB Club is a wonderful place to start that. There you go, Bobby.
And don't get me
I'll
started
take that
on
envelope back.
Thank you. Check out the link, and don't get me started on the 365 days of content in a row. Like, that's a lot, guys. Like,
Bullshit.
get in the DMs, start talking to people, comments, DMs. That's the way to go. Make sure you check out Darren. Make sure you check out Mitchell. Check out my stuff too. Come by TLB Club. Thanks, guys, for being here. Everybody else, the replays here. You can ask questions. You can tag us. You can follow us. We will answer all the questions.